Welcome to class online. Today we're going to be learning English language, and we're going to be learning a very important topic in English language, and that is letter writing. Letter writing. Now, most of us might feel letter writing is not an old method, as in not phased off. Now, with the coming of technology, phones, social media, we don't need letter writing any longer. But who says that? For any English exam you are going to write, you must have a letter writing question. So letter writing is not usually, or has not gone into extinction like most people think. It is still something that everybody relates with today. Now, what is letter writing? It's simply an act of communication. An act of communication. Before the advent of technology, if someone is living in Abuja and somebody else is in Kano, there are no phones, you can't call people then. The best you could do is to send a letter. You write a letter, you take it to the post office in Kano. The post office in Kano sends it to the post office in Abuja. Whoever you are writing to receives the letter, your name, your address is there, the content of the letter, the person reads your letter, reply your letter through the same means, and it gets back to you in Kano. So it was basically a means of communication people use in communicating. You write a letter, somebody reads the letter, and the person replies you. Now, we said most people view it as an old form of communication because now technology has come and replaced all that. But as students of English, it is still important and pertinent for us to know all that it takes in writing a very good and presentable letter. But before we get into the details of letter writing proper, we have to understand that there are two types of letter writing. The first one is formal. The second one is informal. We have formal and we have informal. Now, the name formal should really make us understand what it's all about. Now, a formal letter is a letter written to people of importance, somebody of high importance, somebody that is in an office holder. You understand? Why an informal letter is like a letter we write to our friends, our family, and where have you. And these letters, they have formats, they have hints, they have ways in which you write in writing them. Now, if you're writing a formal letter, for example, it's not the same process you follow in writing a formal letter you follow to when you're writing an informal letter. It's divergent. The processes are different. Now, like we said earlier, informal letters are letters you write to close family members, friends, contemporaries, people you know. Now, why formal letter, on the other hand, is a letter written to someone that has an office, a highly important person, and the way you write it is also different from the way you write an informal letter. So today, we're going to take our time to look at the basics of writing a formal letter. Characteristics of a formal letter. Characteristics of a formal letter. Now, the first thing you have to look at when writing a formal letter is the address. Now, a formal letter has two addresses. The first one is the writer's address. The second one is the recipient's address. Now, what this entails is, when you are writing a formal letter, there's two address systems. The first one is the writer's address. The second one is the recipient's address. The recipient is the person receiving the letter. Now, the writer's address is found at the top right hand side of the paper. Don't worry, before we round up, we're going to show you a sample of a formal letter. Now, the writer's address is found at the top hand side of the paper. Then the recipient's address is written at the left hand side. So you write your address as a writer, you also write the person that is going to receive the letter's address. But in informal letter, it's just one address. You write only your address. Now after the address system, you have what is known as topic. A formal letter has a topic. An informal letter does not have a topic. Informal letter, you just go straight to pleasantries. You greet the person, ask about the family, ask how the person is, and all that. But for a formal letter, you go straight to the point. You just write the topic. The topic now carries the message in your letter, the details your letter is trying to pass across. The message you want the person you are writing to know is what is written in your topic. Then after that, we go to the body. We go to the body. Now, the body of a formal letter is different from that of an informal letter. Now, I said during my explanation that an informal letter is a letter you write to close friends, family, contemporaries, people you know on an everyday basis. Now, you can decide to ask them questions about their family, how they are doing, that and that and that. But in an informal letter, when you are writing to an highly placed official, you don't go to all this pleasantry. You introduce yourself and you go straight to your purpose of writing. So the body of a formal letter is usually straight to the point. It is straight to the point. It contains all the details you want to tell the person without asking for any pleasantries and all that. And then we have what is known as the closing salutation. Closing salutation. After the closing salutation, you sign, and then you write your name. After the body, you write the closing salutation. After writing the closing salutation, you sign. But in an informal letter, you don't have to sign. There's no need signing. But in a formal letter, you sign. After signing, you write your name. So these are the characteristics of a formal letter, but these are the necessary steps we have to take into consideration when writing a formal letter. Now, I said we're going to take a sample of how a formal letter appears, what really a formal letter is. Now, let's say, for example, you are asked to write a letter to the Commissioner of Education, telling him why you feel that the standard of education in your state should be improved, giving him reasons for the improvement of the standard of education in your state. Now, the Commissioner of Education, even if he's your father, in this capacity, he is the Commissioner of Education, so it's a formal letter, it's not an informal letter. You have to address him as an office holder, office of the Commissioner. So, we're going to take a sample of that. Like the question says once again that write a letter to the Commissioner of Education in your state, giving him reasons for the improvement of education in your state. So now let's take that sample. Now we said earlier that a formal letter has two addresses, unlike an informal letter that has just one address. And we said in a formal letter, you have the writer's address and the recipient's address. And the recipient is the person who is going to receive the letter. So you include the person's address in the letter. Now what you do, you come to the top right hand side of the paper, you write your address here, wherever you are writing from. You write the street, let's say, for example, viewers don't mind where I write, Isiokolo Road, Surulere, Lagos, full stop. Now let's say this is your address, you write your address, your own address at the top right hand side of the paper. After which you come down, you write your date. Now it's important for you to know that in letter writing, you're not supposed to write your date like this. Let's say, for example, something of this nature. This is wrong. Or you write something of this nature. This is wrong. You have to specify the dates, the month, and the year. You write it out in full. So we say 22nd May, 1996, full stop. This is a very good way to write. So after you have written your own address, the next thing you have to take into cognizance is the recipient's address. So you come to the left hand side of the paper. You write whoever you are writing to. You are writing to the governor, the commissioner, whoever it is. You write the person's address here. Once you are done with that, you come to the opening salutation. You can write dear sir or dear ma'am, depending on the person you are writing the letter to. Then we said you also write a topic. For example, I am writing to the local government chairman, asking him that we need our roads to be tarred. You write to the local government chairman. You write a heading. Reconstruction of major roads in Surulere. Now let's take this as an example. Now, reconstruction of major roads in Surulere is the title of this letter. Now, whoever sees the letter, even if the person has not read the body of the letter, the person already understands a glimpse of what the letter is all about. So it is very important that if you're writing a formal letter, you write a topic. And like we said, there's no much pleasantries in a formal letter. You can't start asking the person how the person is, how is his family, has the person eating and all that. No. You can only do that in an informal letter because you are writing to a close friend or a family member, a relative or what have you. The person is close to you. But in a formal letter, you are writing to probably an office holder, a very high placed individual in the society. So there's no point asking about pleasantries and all that. You go straight to what you want to tell the person. So we said the construction of major roads in Surulere, that's the topic of the letter now. If we're going to write the body, you go straight to write why the road should be reconstructed, what axis of the road needs reconstruction and all that. Once you are done with that, we have what is called the closing salutation. You come down and write yours faithfully. Yours faithfully. You put a comma. We take note of punctuations when you are writing letters. Punctuations are very important. You put a comma and then we say you sign. Put your signature, you write your name. So that's the format on writing a formal letter. So let's run it over again so that our viewers out there can have an understanding on how to put up a formal letter. We said first off, it has two addresses. One is the writer's address, which is written on the top right hand side of the paper. We also have the recipient's address written on the left hand side of the paper. And then you have the topic, you have the body of the letter, which is short and precise, straight to the point. You have your closing salutation, your signature, and then you put your name. So that is how to write a formal letter. So in our next class, we're going to be looking at informal letter. Now, informal letter is the exact opposite of a formal letter. And the language of a formal letter, we forgot to tell you, is very formal. You don't use slangs. You don't use abbreviations. You don't call people by their personal names and all that. You respect them when you are writing a formal letter. Unlike an informal letter, where you are allowed to use slangs, you can call the person by his nickname even if you know the person so well. So the language of an informal letter is far different from that of a formal letter. So in our next class, we'll be looking at an informal letter, what I want to take into consideration when writing informal letter. Until then, see you next time.